Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are cracking the code on a project that aims to do nothing less than make our physical world machine readable.
That's a good way to put it. We're talking about 375II, or EAT, a pretty complex DePIN project built on Solana.
Exactly. And our mission today, after going through all the source material you sent over, is to make this simple.
Right. We're going to break down this whole effort to create a global data layer for the physical world. We'll give you the core insights, but without the headache.
Because the concept is just, it's huge. If this thing works, 375II creates a real-time decentralized data layer for the physical world.
It does.
But before we get to the solution, we have to understand the problem. I mean, what's so broken about collecting data from the real world today?
Well, the sources call it the invisibility of data. Just think about all the information zipping around a city every second, traffic flow, noise levels, even tiny changes in weather.
Stuff that's happening right now.
Exactly. The sources estimate that something like 90% of this really valuable dynamic data is just gone. It's never collected, or if it is, it's useless for any kind of real-time analysis. It's basically dark data.
But why? I mean, we have cameras everywhere. We have sensors. Why can't a big company just flip a switch and start gathering all of it?
And that's where the old model, the sort of Web 2 cloud model, just completely falls apart.
Yep.
If you put one high-res camera on a street corner, that one camera can generate terabytes of video data every single day.
Terabytes. Wow.
And if you try to send all that to a central server to analyze it, you hit two walls immediately.
Okay, let me guess the first one. It must be incredibly slow and expensive.
Precisely. You're trying to send these massive raw video files to a data center that's maybe thousands of miles away. The cost for storage and bandwidth is just astronomical. And the delay, the latency, means by the time you analyze it, the moment has passed.
So it's not actually real time if it takes hours to process?
Not even close.
Yeah.
And the second problem is maybe even bigger. It's a privacy nightmare. When you store raw video and audio, you're storing every face, every license plate, every conversation. That's a massive legal liability under rules like GDPR in Europe or CCPA in California. It's a risk most companies just can't take.
Okay, this is where that analogy from the sources really clicked for me. It makes the scale of the problem so clear.
It's a great one. Trying to do this the old way is like trying to email your friend a full, uncompressed 4K movie.
Just to tell them you saw a red car drive by.
Exactly. It's complete overkill. It's slow, and it's way too expensive to do at any kind of scale.
So if sending the whole movie is broken, 375II must be figuring out a way to just send the summary. This has to be about Edge AI.
That is the whole ballgame.
Yeah.
The mission is to become the main data provider for what the sources call physical AI or agentic AI.
So AI that needs to understand the world as it's actually moving and changing?
Right, not just recognizing a picture of a stop sign, but understanding the flow of cars and people reacting to that stop sign in real time.
Okay, so what's the analogy for their solution?
The best one is to think of the network as a decentralized nervous system for a city.
A nervous system, I like that.
So instead of sending all the raw sensory data, the video, the audio, all the way up to a central brain, which is the cloud, the Edge AI device acts more like a reflex. It processes the information right there on the spot.
And it only sends back a tiny, structured message.
A tiny, structured thought. Exactly. A concise insight, not the raw noise.
That makes so much sense. But this kind of network needs hardware, right? And getting hardware installed in the real world seems like a logistical nightmare. How do they solve that?
This is probably their biggest strategic advantage. The network runs on these specialized corporate-grade devices called the 375 Edge.
And these are expensive, right?
Oh yeah, over $1,500 a pop. But here's the brilliant part. They have a huge partnership with Outfront Media.
Wait, the billboard company? The ones with ads on buses and stuff?
That's the one. Outfront controls over 40,000 premium locations in the U.S. alone. Think digital billboards, transit shelters.
So places that already have power and an internet connection.
And are secure. It lets them sidestep the single hardest part of building a DePIN network, which is the physical setup. It's a massive head start on any competitor.
Okay, let's get to the magic trick then. The sources kept mentioning this number, a 26,000x compression rate. That sounds almost impossible.
It sounds like science fiction, but it's the heart of the whole project. It works because the raw data never leaves the device.
Never.
Never. A single node can process up to a full terabyte of raw video every day. But instead of sending that terabyte to the cloud, the AI on the device processes it right there.
So what does it send instead?
Just the insights, the structured data. And that comes out to only about 35 megabytes a day.
Wow. So you go from 1 terabyte of video to 35 megabytes of text.
That's your 26,000 to 1 compression.
Yeah.
Instead of sending video of a highway, it sends a simple text file that says, last 5 minutes, 150 sedans, average speed 40 kilometers an hour.
And that's the privacy by design feature everyone talks about. No faces, no license plates, just the anonymous data.
Exactly. You get the valuable insight without the private baggage.
But hold on, if the raw video is never seen by anyone else, how do you know the device is being honest? What stops someone from just sending fake data to earn rewards?
That's a great question, and it's critical for a decentralized network. They use a system called proof of data, and it relies on cross-validation.
You mean what, exactly?
The data from those fixed, expensive 375 edge nodes is constantly being checked against data from their mobile app, 375 Go.
And that has a big user base already.
It's pretty big. Over 300,000 users were on it during the testnet. So if a fixed node on a corner reports a huge traffic jam, the network can instantly check if, a bunch of mobile app users are also stuck in that same spot. It keeps the whole system honest.
Okay, this brings us to the million-dollar question, or maybe the billion-dollar question. Who is actually buying this data?
Right, because this is what justifies the entire network. They're targeting clients who need what they call alpha signals, data that gives them a real competitive edge.
And the clearest example of that alpha seems to be hedge funds.
Yeah, quant traders and hedge funds are the primary target. These firms will pay a fortune for any data that helps them predict the market, even by a few seconds.
Walk me through that. How does counting cars in a parking lot help predict a company's earnings?
Okay, so imagine your fund. You can use 375 AI to monitor the parking lots of a big retail chain, like a Walmart or Target, in real time, all across the country.
So you're just counting the cars.
You're counting the cars. And if you see that for an entire quarter, their parking lots have been consistently less full than last year. That's a very strong signal that foot traffic is down.
And that sales are probably down too, weeks or months before the company has to announce it publicly.
You got it. You are trading on the real-time pulse of the economy. Other big clients are autonomous vehicle companies training their AIs and logistics firms optimizing delivery routes on the fly.
And this is how they're different from a competitor like HiveMapper, right?
A huge difference. HiveMapper is mostly collecting static data, like Street View maps. It's a big market, but they're competing with Google. 375 II is focused only on this dynamic, real-time pulse data. It's much harder to get, and because it can lead to immediate profit or savings, it's worth a lot more.
All right, the tech is impressive, the market is there, but we have to talk about the risks. The sources were very direct about what they called the economic time bomb.
They were, and it's a serious concern. The project is basically in a race against the clock. They have about a year, maybe a bit more, until Q4 of 2026.
And what happens then? What's this wall of unlocks?
It's a double whammy of supply hitting the market. First, the one-year lockup for all the big early investors expires. We're talking almost 20% of the total supply. At the same time, the lockups for all the early airdrop rewards also expire.
So a massive flood of tokens could suddenly be available to sell, all at once.
All at once. It means the project has to generate massive, real-world, dollar-based demand for its data, and they have to do it now. If they can't sign those huge corporate contracts to soak up all that supply, the selling pressure could be, well, pretty brutal.
And on top of the economics, there's a regulatory threat, too. A double threat, actually.
Right. First, you've got the financial risk from the SEC in the U.S. The argument is that because the token's value really depends on the team's ongoing work to build the network.
It could be classified as an unregistered security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it gets delisted from major U.S. exchanges, liquidity dries up, and it's a huge blow to the project.
And the other threat is privacy, even with the edge processing.
It's always there. Their entire legal defense rests on the tech working perfectly 100% of the time. If there's ever a bug or a hack that leaks raw, identifiable video, the legal fallout under GDPR would be catastrophic. It's an existential risk.
And one last thing, just circling back. The cost of the hardware, over $1,500. That's a pretty high bar for entry for regular people, isn't it? It kind of works against the whole decentralization idea.
It does. It's a real tension. Does the network become truly decentralized, or does it end up being run by a handful of big corporate node operators? That's still an open question.
So after all that, let's bring it all home. How do you summarize 375 AI in just a sentence or two?
375i is a really ambitious DePIN project on Solana using specialized edge AI hardware to capture high-value, real-time data from the physical world. It's trying to solve the massive problems of both data overload and privacy risk at the same time.
And what's the final provocative thought we should leave everyone with?
I think it's this. Can a project like this successfully bridge the world of Web3 token incentives with the very traditional dollar-based demand from places like Wall Street and global logistics? That friction between crypto supply and corporate demand, that's the billion-dollar question that will decide if this whole thing works. If you found this interesting, please like and subscribe to the channel. We do all the complex research so you don't have to.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep digging, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.